You are most welcome, my fashionistas, to Yvonne Winifred UG. This is the inspiration of the dress that we are making today. We just have a few alterations. So we want to be considering the collar, the white bands around the sleeves. We want to be considering that too, and we'll be adding on to the length as you will see in the video. So keep around, subscribe if you are new, and let's work on this dress. So I'm working with this fabric, and this is my front, and the one below is the back, and the back has a zipper allowance. That is the zipper allowance, so it is wider than the front. So we are starting off by dividing the entire shoulder measurement by 2 inches, and we are marking it on top here. 15 inches is the shoulder measurement. Dividing it by 2, I get 7.5 plus ½ inch for joining allowance. That's why I marked 8 inches. And from the top there, I go down by 8.5 inches for the armhole line, and then 10 inches for the bust line, 16 inches waistline, and hip line at 25 inches. So I just added about 5 inches to finish up with the entire length. But if you want it a little bit shorter like in the thumbnail, just consider about 2 inches immediately after the hip line. So marking my neckline, the width is 4 inches, then the back depth is 1.5 inches, and then the front depth is 5 inches. After there, I just curve my neckline like that. Then I come here at the armhole line and I slant the shoulder line by 1 inch, and then connect that 1 inch onto the neckline like that. And after there, I just add ½ inch as the joining allowance at the shoulder while sewing. I'll be considering that. So from whatever I have remained here at the armhole line, I have to get the midpoint of that, and then move in by ½ inch as you see, and then get my front armhole, and then from the midpoint again I get my back armhole like that. And after there, I just come here at the bust line and start marking my dart placement. So I'm considering princess dart in this video. So the bust span that I'm working with is 7 inches, so I get the midpoint of the 7 inches. So I divide 7 inches, dividing it by 2, I get 3.5 inches plus ½ inch as sewing allowance. That's why you're seeing me marking 4 inches. So I'm marking 4 inches. I'm working with the princess dart 4 inches from the center front towards the middle, and come out with this line, and that will be my dart placement. So 4 inches from the center front coming into the middle, and then I mark that placement. So from the bust line, I have to connect my princess dart into the armhole. I carved out like that, making sure that at the bust area there it is not pointy, but it is curved. It has to be curved. Use your rulers if you have them. So now coming back here along the armhole, I have to increase my dart line by 1 inch. From exactly the armhole, I increase it by 1 inch, and then I draw out a new armhole curve like that. So that will aid me whilst sewing. That will help while I'm sewing. There won't be a shortage. If you don't consider that, there is always a shortage while you're sewing, so you have to add that 1 inch outside. If you can't do that, you can just increase your shoulder line here. When you are starting off, you increase your shoulder by 1 inch, and you consider that when you're making a princess dart. So moving on, I have to divide my bust measurement by 4 inches, and then add 1 inch for that dart, and then half inch for ease, and then another 1 inch for sewing, guys. So I do the same even onto the waist measurement divided by 4 inches plus 1 inch for that, plus 1 inch for sewing, and half an inch for seam allowance if you just want to consider that. I also do the same at the hip measurement, dividing bit by 4 plus 1 inch for that, plus 1 inch for sewing allowance, and some ease allowance if you want to consider that. So whatever I have at the hip line, I'm going to reduce it by 1.5 inches and mark that at the hemline. So at the hip measurement I have 13 inches, subtracting 1.5 inches, I will have about 11.5 inches, or yes 11.5 inches, and then I will connect the points like that. So the hemline is taken in to give that beautiful effect as you've seen at the photo, the inspiration photo. So after that, I just connect the points at the sides and come out with the shape of the dress like this. And after there, I get my pair of scissors and cut out the shape that I've marked. Remember, we cut out the back markings first, and then we consider the front markings afterwards. So after there, I continue with my cuttings. I cut out the back markings first, and then this is the front neckline. I continue with the cuttings. I cut out my princess dart like that. So these are the pieces that I have now. I get my pins so that I pin everything together, front pieces apart and the back pieces apart also, like that. So we'll be slitting up the center back because we'll be considering a zipper. So those are my pieces now. So I'll align all my pieces like this, side pieces, and join them to the center or the middle piece by half an inch for both the front and the back, like that. I always join from down going up when it comes to the princess dart, you know, for correct measurements, like that. And then I cut out the excess because there's always the excess, as we see here after sewing. So you see, after joining those side pieces, there's an excess when it comes to that middle piece around the armhole. So now we have to cut those excess pieces out. So considering this front piece, I think you're seeing from the markings there's that excess that we don't want. If not, you can even measure out your shoulder measurement. You will see that there's that excess and we need to cut it out for both the front and the back, like that. And this is only when it comes to the princess dart or the princess bastia. So now this is what I have, and I went ahead and cut out some facings. So the width of the facings is 3.5 inches after tracing out the neckline for both the front and the back pieces. So that's what I have, pinning it, and then I do the same for the front also. Trace out the neckline and measure out 3.5 inches for the facings, like that. And I'll be joining by half an inch the facing and the main piece. So after there, I'll join my shoulders. I'll join the front and the back pieces together along the shoulders for both the main piece and the facing pieces. So off camera I cut my sleeve, and the sleeves are 12 inches in length. After everything, I will hem my sleeves and I will join these sleeves onto the main piece, and after there I will join the sides and I will show you what I will have next. So this is what I have now. I've joined the sleeves, as you see, facings joined, sides joined, and I'll just have to slit up the center back like this so that I will be able to join the sleeve and join the gathers along that hemline like that. So after getting the entire measurement of the hemline, I multiply by 2.5 or 3 inches, or 3 not inches, but I multiply the entire hemline measurement by 2.5 or 3 times so that I get a piece that I gathered, as you see in this picture, and this gathered piece will be joined onto the hemline like that. So this gathered piece is about 10 inches long, but if you want it shorter, you just do what you want. So this is it, and I'll join it onto the hemline, join it onto the hemline of the main piece by 1/2 inch, and I'll move on. So I have a zipper. This is the zipper, and from where the pin, I'll join that piece down, and up I'll just join the zipper and then hem the bottom of the dress. Guys, I hope you're understanding everything, and I'll come out with this beautiful dress, as you see. If you have any questions, please comment below, but this is the dress. I have a video on the sleeves and how to make gathers. If you don't know, you can check it out on my channel. So the center back was joined, and after I have my zipper, I just attached the zipper. It is a metallic zipper, beautiful colors, and that is how the dress looks like. Thank you so much for watching. I hope I'll see you soon. Hope you subscribe to this channel, Yvonne Winifred UG, and thanks for supporting always. I love you so much, and God loves you. See you.